Now, just to give you context, once again, let's review. The Prophet of Allah, he came to Mecca on the 4th day of Dhul Hijjah, which was on a Monday. It was the 4th day of Dhul Hijjah. And the Prophet, when he completed his tawaf and sa'i, there were a few days left until the 8th. So what did the Prophet do during this period? He remained in an area called Al-Abtah, or Al-Muhassab, or Khayf Bani Kinana. These are three different names for the same area. And today in Mecca, it's referred to as being Al-Ma'abidah. Al-Ma'abidah is a known part in Mecca, which is northeast part of Mecca on the maps. He stayed in this area until the 8th. So after doing the tawaf, he spent his time in Ma'abidah before heading to Mina. And the Prophet of Allah did not go to Masjid Haram during this period, although he had the ability to do so. And subhanAllah, scholars derive from this a beneficial qa'idah and principle. The reason why he did not go to Masjid Haram is because there were still people there doing their tawaf, right? Doing their sa'i. And if he had went there, it would have overcrowded Masjid Haram. Back then, it was not like how it is today, where there's a lot of space. Even now, subhanAllah, it gets overcrowded. You have millions of people who come. But back then, it was even worse, right? The roads weren't as paved. There weren't expansions. The space was very tight. So now imagine you had 90,000 people, 130,000 people entering that area. SubhanAllah, what they look like. So the Prophet of Allah says, for the benefit of the ummah and the greater benefit, the maslahah, okay, he did not go to Masjid Haram during this time. SubhanAllah, because it will cause greater difficulty for those who make tawaf. And this is the basis, ikhwani and akhawat, for what you find being implemented now by Saudi Arabia and throughout the years, who they put in place measures to help and facilitate the Hujjaj in performing their Hajj in a safe manner. Because if it becomes overcrowded, what happens to everyone remember what happened about 10 years ago? There's so many people at one point that two crowds started to trample one another. One crowd from a certain group, a certain country, they took a wrong path. And they ended up killing each other, stampeding over one another, and they died. Everyone remember this? Almost a decade ago. SubhanAllah. Now, this is what happens when there's no organization or people don't follow instructions, and it leads to death. It leads to people dying. So the Prophet of Allah, his wisdom, he did not go back to Masjid Haram because it would have caused difficulty for everyone else to perform their tawaf. So he remained in this place called Al-Abtah today, which is known as Ma'abidah, until the 8th of Dhul Hijjah.